Good morning. So one of the things that we've started trying during this Lent season is our children's worship. And so at 11 o'clock this last week, we did that. We had the kids sign in ahead of time, get name tags at our normal registration point. Then they came into the worship and they sat through all the way through about 20 minutes of the service through the Lord's Prayer. And then we gathered together and we went to the Covenant Chapel for us to have children's worship. And so I told them, let's talk about what worship means. Now, it saddens my heart that they didn't realize that we even called this worship. They just called it church, right? And I said, no, the church is a lot bigger than just the worship, but let's talk about the adult service you just came out of, right? And so we talked about what are the elements that they experience, right? And they all got that there's a sermon and that there's a Bible point and that there's usually a story that relates to the Bible story that makes it more about their lives, which I thought was great. They also talked about the music, they talked about prayer, and they said there was a lot of prayer. So they got all those pieces, right? Just like we do. What was interesting to me is I said, okay, what should we do different here, right? What should children's church or children's worship look like? And so they were like, okay, well, we should still pray. Good. We should still have a Bible story. Yes. We should still do offering. Yes. So we talked about all of those things. And then they talked about their music might be a little bit different, right? It might have motions like we do for Vacation Bible School and for chapel. It might be the same song a couple of weeks in a row so they get to know those motions. They talked about playing games and doing crafts and doing mission projects, which I thought was really cool because not only did they say, oh, I want to play a game, they said the game should be about the Bible story and about, us learning about God. They get it, right? And so I thought of the enthusiasm that they brought to that moment, like having a voice in it, knowing what it's like, being passionate. Now I challenged them because they're going to be coming into corporate worship with all of us over the next few weeks, just like normal. And I said, so I'm challenging you to know what one of the songs was. I don't care what the title of it was, but how does that song speak to you about God, right? What did you hear in the message? And so challenging them, I thought about how sometimes we just go through the motions as adults of going into worship, check, prayed, check, listened to the sermon, check, relates to my life, check, end with prayer, check, go home. I don't want that for them, and I don't want that for you. It's not just a checkbox, it's an experience. It's not just church, it's not just 1 hour of your life. It is really being in relationship with Christ and others. So they're going to do that with games and funny motions and some crafts and different things like that as they're learning. But we also have to be that excited and that intentional about our own worship. Now I'm speaking to the choir here because this is me too, right? Like when I come in, a lot of times I'm listening to Maggie and Tim singing, but I'm thinking ahead of what I also need to do for the rest of the day. I'm listening during the prayer time with Ralph or Melinda, but I'm also in my head thinking I'm fixing to go do children's message, so I need to be on my game, right? I don't want to miss those moments. We're intentionally matching what we're doing in children's worship, the same lectionary, the same stories, so that when you get in the car to go home, you can say, what I heard from Jeff today was blah, blah, blah. Or what really touched me was the song. Or what really was pivotal was like, man, I felt God when I was praying. Your kids need to hear that, and I think we need to say it out loud sometimes, right? We need to recognize where God is at work in us so our kids can also feel God at work and start identifying what that is, right? So I can't wait to hear the stories of you guys comparing what you heard, what you learned, what you experienced. Don't miss God, right? When we're here together on Sunday mornings, whether you're worshiping in children's worship, whether you're worshiping in this building, whether you're worshiping at home, watching and experiencing, God is present. God is there. It's not just a checkbox for us to do, and it's a relationship with Him that we're building and learning and transforming. So, challenging you, listen to the songs. Think about how it relates to what Jeff is saying. Kids, listen to what the songs are. Pray during that prayer time that God just soften our hearts to hear exactly what He wants for each of us. I hope that you have a great week, and we'll see you at worship.